Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part two of International Stout Day. Now, why am I doing part two? Because this is a little bit of my stout, my basically forever stout. This is where my YouTube channel started, and this is where International Stout Day is where I want to talk about possibly just my favourite stout. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, I have had some big stouts. I mean, like, you name it, I've probably had it. The fridges have got guaranteed proper stouts in there, imperial stouts, over there, under the bench, underneath there. You know, I've got imperial proper barrel aged stouts. I've got the Goose Island County Bourbon Stout. Like, you know, it's a minefield of imperial stouts which are absolutely mind-blowing. I love all the stuff that Vault City do, all their double deep fried blimmin' Mars bar, and I love the stouts that they've done, the Colin the Caterpillar and everything. But I can sit down here at the Spencer Arms and I can have a couple of big stouts. But then I can crack open a Guinness and I can go, do you know what, Guinness? Like, you know, you're still my favourite. And I'm not saying that, like, you know, if someone says to me, do you want a Guinness or this 13% Imperial Stout? I'll go, oh, well, yeah, I'll have a 13% Imperial Stout and I want to taste all them flavours. All like I had one which had 5 different nut oils in it and things like crazy stouts. Absolutely. But if I'm going out, and especially at the Cuisine of India in Wigston, I think I've put them down to the best Guinness that I've ever tasted. And I hate to say that because even at Duffy's Bar, fantastic Guinness. And I think they equal it. And I'll show you, I'll put some of the pictures up on this video of literally, and I asked them and I want to talk about them. So what I'm going to do, I've got a little bit of a chat about Guinness and about other things to go around it. So stick around. So basically my YouTube channel, now I'm probably with all this waffling and everything else going to forget what I'm doing with this, and then you can come in and criticise me and they say, I can't believe I actually watched your video, Speno, that taught me how to use this. And that's where it all started. Well, anyway, let's just see if I can get it going. I always sort of like make it 45 degrees, get it above the horizontal. I rest the penguin, as we call it, on there. Let it pour, get it up to the heart. You got 30 seconds with this, as you know, to do that first pour. Let's get it going. You can hear it's doing its surging. I do love it. I do love the sound. It's really, really nice. Try and sort of finish it nice and gently so you don't get anything dropping in there. And then put it to the one side to let it settle. I'll put it on this Spencer Arms box where my glasses come. So there it is, settling nicely. Now, I'm not here to display how that works. I've been there, done that. It's my first video. If you look at that video, it's my first video. And I've had my first negative comment on it, which was really quite funny because I'm gonna say this. The guy that actually called me out on it told me that I didn't show people how the light works. I didn't show how to turn it on. I didn't explain to them about the 1 minute timer. You didn't read the instructions. That's what they said. You didn't read the instructions. You ain't explained about the light. You ain't explained about the 1 minute timer. I'm like, 1 minute timer? It's a 30-second timer. You haven't clearly read the instructions. I loved it. It's been so funny. And I just think to myself, oh my God, it's brilliant. I love people coming back at me with things like, oh, can't believe you poured a beer into another beer, into a glass. Way to flatten a beer. Yeah, I know, but it weren't all about that. I love constructive feedback, and I don't know everything, and I'm always learning, and I love all that. One thing I do know, and one thing I'm going to say out loud, is if you're going to make a Nitro Surge Stout, just make it your own. Make it your own. I have just reviewed the first Nitro Stout for a long time that's actually made it their own. I've been talking to Janie about this, and she said you do get a little bit. I do get passionate about it. I love Guinness. You're not going to do it. Nobody's ever going to compete with Guinness making a Nitro Stout. And this is why I love this. This is why I've done a part two. I've just reviewed this. Fantastic. 2 great breweries. That looks really small. It looks like a little diddy can, like compared to the big Guinness that's there. 2 breweries. Right, watch my review on this. 2 breweries, a craft brewery essentially, and a real ale brewery coming together. A year in the making, lots of chats, lots of whatever, making a stout, and they said they agreed to make a stout, started in London and was made famous in Dublin, meaning that like they never even mentioned Guinness. They didn't need to mention Guinness. They've made a stout and they've made it their own. And do you know what? I really respect you for that. I really, honestly, because I finished doing this pour, and then so you don't turn the cap on for the second pour, right? Get it right over the top like that. I've got a few bubbles there. And it should not go over the top. If it does, don't tell me off. It's fine. It's not. It's good. It's all good. So there is a little bit of a bubble on there, but you can't see it. So, I won't get slagged off for it too much. So anyway, there it is. The old Nitro Surge cap. Steve Gilson from the Guinness, head of global quality control. I speak to him a lot. He's a fantastic guy, the inventor of this. It's been going strong. I actually charged it up before I'd done this chat because I didn't want it to be the one time it goes flat. But I've not charged it since I've had it, and it still ain't gone flat. So there it is, absolutely fantastic, and I'm going to enjoy that. So there's the Guinness in the glass. So yeah, so back to this. So I just love the fact they've not made this and gone, we're making this stout, we're coming together. We're going to put Guinness out the map. We're going to be the new big thing and everything else. They've just made a Nitro Stout. Brilliant. So thank you. Honestly, thank you for doing that. And if I've looked at quite a bit of information and I've not found anything that makes them suggest that they've brewed this to try and make it better than this. So I love that. I absolutely love that. You got... When Brewdog made Black Heart, instead of just making a Nitro Stout, they had to say, don't get me wrong, this isn't, I'm not slagging people off. I'm just saying I'm disappointed with the fact that Brewdog, we're making this Nitro Stout. Oh, fantastic. Let's get on that. Let's see what that's like. Now, the general public out there, everybody, and I know for certain I could title my video, This versus Guinness. Is it as good? And it'll probably create lots of views, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that, right? But every single Nitro Stout that comes out like this, Black Heart, Forged Irish Stout, and now Hawkston's Black, is a competitor. It seems a competitor to Guinness in the eye of the public who are watching YouTube. So yes, you could say yeah, I'm going to compare this to Guinness, but I'm not, because they've not tried to be Guinness. If they tried to be Guinness and tried to take over the Guinness world, then I would have said, right, let's see how good you are against Guinness then. But no, they didn't. So I've reviewed that as a standalone, and I will not put that up against Guinness because that is its own stout. It's a very good stout, really, really lovely stout, and I'm sure if Steve Gilson drank that, he'd agree. Anyway, Black Heart, Brewdog's Black Heart. Their sort of tagline was, don't quote me because it's off the top of my head, was something like, what happens if this wasn't brewed in 1759? What happens if it's better? And all things like that. And it made complete and utter reference to Guinness, using Guinness's sort of horse to ride them in. And then you got Forged Irish Stout. They come in with the slogan of or the logo of, and some, like I say, don't quote me on it. Don't come in like you got it wrong, Speno, or whatever. I can't know. I'm not really interested. I'm just doing it off. So we're not here to compete. We're here to take over, or we're not here to compete. We're here to win. It's basically we are here. We've made this stout. We're going to take over the Guinness heart. We're going to put Guinness out of the way. We're going to be the new best thing. Well, anyway, Black Heart. Brewdog's Black Heart, I've done comparisons videos because they wanted to be like Guinness. I've done it. For me, Black Heart, very coffee forward, really astringent in the coffee flavours. For me, sorry Brewdog, I'm just being honest, they're not using the best coffee flavors, or the coffee flavors, the roasted coffee flavors that are coming through. It's not like a really nice creamy coffee. No, it's very astringent in my thing. Now, a lot of people say that the aftertaste of Guinness is quite astringent, but it's a really well put together quality astringentness. Anyway, whilst I'm waffling, cheers. I hope my glass is clean. I don't know, it should be. I'm not here to make the big lace, and I'm just here to enjoy what is my my stout for International Stout Day. Cheers, everybody. Oh, lovely. Anyway, yeah, I put that. Oh, I mean, straight away, instantly, the lovely, creamy flavours in that are unmatchable. There's terrible lacing on the glass for me, but I'm not bothered about that in a minute. Just the pure, lovely taste of Guinness for me will always stand out all by itself. Guinness is not that. That ain't Guinness. There's no need for them to be each other. They're totally different. And I loved what they did. I love how there's an element of freshness. You can tell that if you've not watched part one, the pure review of this, then you can tell that this is a collaboration. You can really tell. You've got that sort of almost like the brightness that one brings and the darkness that the other brings. It's just amazing. Anyway, I will admit, watch some of my other videos where I've actually really, these Mania generation, I've not probably used this particular glass for a while. I've been using my Spencer Arms glasses or whatever. So I am a little bit disappointed with my lacing on that, I ain't gonna lie. However, Guinness just tastes like Guinness, and it's unmatchable. So, like you say, Black Heart, Forged Irish Stout. So Forged Irish Stout for me, very milk stouty, completely the opposite of Black Heart. But a little tip, can of Black Heart, can of Forged Irish Stout, mix them together. The Forged Irish Stout creams up the Black Heart a little bit, and it takes away that coffee astringency, and it makes quite a good mix. So I would say Brewdog Black Heart and the Forged Irish Stout are great as a mix, like we used to do, like the Man's Brown and things like that, a mild and a bitter and all that sort of stuff. It's great as that, absolutely fantastic. But on their own, brilliant. If you like a really astringent coffee stout or a nice sort of like chocolatey milk stout, fantastic. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with them. It's just the coffee and the Black Heart's too much for me. It's not too much. I love coffee. I have strong espresso, double espresso coffee, but the beans I use are absolutely beautiful, smooth, creamy, lovely. But they're both trying to be Guinness. Then what happened? Hawkston bringing out a stout, a Nitro stout. I'm like, come on, because let's face it. Let's just face it. Jeremy Clarkson, Hawkston, is very popular because it's Jeremy Clarkson. However, when you get hold of the products shine the quality that he's... So regardless of whether the beer's a hype beer because it's got Jeremy Clarkson behind it, the Hawkston is actually named after a stone. Because he's Clarkson, you think Hawkston, but it's actually a stone that's called the Hawkston, I think. And but I love Jeremy Clarkson. I'm a massive fan of him. He makes me laugh. He's brilliant. I'd have him run the country. He is absolutely brilliant. He's so funny. I love it. I did a thing, and he is just amazing. I love the way he supports all the British farmers and how he's got the mental health hotline for the farmers. everything about it is awesome. And then when he brought out the lager, I thought, oh God, what's this going to be like? And I didn't taste it originally when I think he used to use mostly from Digley Squat farm. I think the demand is so high now, he's having to actually get the barley in from other farmers, but still locally grown British, farming use. But I've got an IPA in there now. I've got Hawkston Lager up there. I always have it. The Tap and Barrel, they have it on draft. The cider is banging as well. Everything about Hawkston, I love. The IPA, the lager, the cider. The quality speaks for itself. Regardless of it being a hype. It's not like a hype beer because it's Jeremy Clarkson, but it's an absolutely cack beer. It's brilliant. So when he was bringing out a stout, I thought, woo, wow. He's so independent. He is so British and totally independent of everything he makes comes from the farm. Their own barley. Obviously they're not growing their own hops or anything if they use that. But all British sourced, and I thought if he's going to brew Nitro Stout, it's going to be good. So, of course, I watched, and I suggest you do as well, it's a really good video. Simon from Real Ale Craft Beer got invited to the brewery, Hawkston's Brewery, where he spoke to the guy who was brewing it. He was an Irish guy, and he went through all the different... It's a really interesting video. I really suggest you go and watch it. And then Simon got to try, basically the first try of the Hawkston Black. It looked great. Now, I know that he's there. He's stood in front of the guy. He's not going to drink, nobody would, and go, nah, this ain't very good. This is a sink fodder. He's not going to do that at all. Oh. But I could see in his face that when he took a sip of it, it was good. And I thought, whoa, this is going to be great. And then, of course, what happened was I seen the reels and they're pouring out a Hawkston Nitro Stout. And as they serve it, and don't quote me on this, they're serving, they're going, do you lads drink Guinness? And I thought, oh, no, please, no. Because I actually begged them. When they brought it out, I actually commented, and they must think not that I'm like a flea commenting, and no one's going to take no notice of me. But I commented, please, 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 please make this stout your own. Please don't compare it to Guinness. Please, please, please don't make reference to Guinness. Just do it. Do it as your own stout, please. Because, seriously, me and a lot of other people will really respect you for that, please. And disappointingly, they served it at the pub, and they said, do you guys drink Guinness? Yes. And it was something along the lines of, will you be drinking Guinness after you've had this? In a roundabout way of sort of saying, once you've tried Hawkston's Black, you're never going back. There's a tagline. Once you've tried Hawkston's Black, you're never going back. You know what I mean? Yes, I did a thing. Anyway, and then when they handed it, are you going to split the H? I thought, oh, no. Guinness have got to split the G in there, and literally, do you drink Guinness? Are you going to drink Guinness after this? You're going to split the H. And then all the I can't wait to try it. Honestly, I'm looking out for when I can get it. At the minute, it's only available to the Hawkstonaires, so you've got to join the club. If you join the club, and I actually wouldn't join Hawkston's club because he has got a very limited range of beer, so you're just going to be getting pretty much the same beer every month, unlike the Thornbridge club where you get different beers every month and other clubs. But if you join there, you can get the Hawkston's Black. But I'm sure at some point it's canned. I'm sure at some point it'll be available and we will get it, and I will bring it to the channel, and I will compare it against Guinness because that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. So I will stand it against Guinness, and I will see if it's as good as Guinness, and if it ain't, because they are trying to say, once you've had this Guinness, you ain't gonna have this. split the H, and then all the advertising is split the H. Like I say, this is a very kind and welcoming rant saying I love all these breweries, like, you know, the Brewdog's Black Heart, it's okay, but I wouldn't buy it again because it's too astringent in the coffee flavours for me. The Forged Irish Stout's a little less subtle, but it's a little bit too milky, a little bit, you know, it's just a little bit flavourless, really, if you get me. Guinness. Guinness is just unique. They will never tell you their yeast strain. They will never, even when there's a video out there, the tour of the Guinness factory, home brewers tour. That's a really good tour as well, really good video. They go to, I can't even think what it's called now. Got out of my mind. Open Gate Brewery, is it? They're a place where they pretty much brew anything. It's like, you tell us what to brew and we'll brew it, and they experiment and they do things and all that. I forgot where I was now. But anyway, regardless of where I was, oh, I know where I was. They're not going to tell you. They're going to give you some information, but they're not going to tell you everything. And I just think, as long as I live, people will try to copy Guinness. They'll try to make that signature Guinness flavour that people, love, and people don't love so much. But I love Guinness. I can drink the most strongest, darkest, most barrel-aged imperial stout ever, and have a couple of them, and then go, oh, do you know what, I fancy Guinness now? And then crack open a Guinness, pour it out, never disappoints. And I always say that, oh my God. I'll go, even though I've just drank that impy stout, this still tastes banging. I love Guinness. I always will love Guinness. And just, if you're going to make an imperial stout, right, just making it, no, an imperial stout. If you're going to make a Nitro Surge stout, just make a Nitro Surge stout. Make a Nitro stout. Just make it. Don't try and compete with Guinness, because you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Now, Guinness probably wouldn't brew this as good as what these have. But they wouldn't say, we're going to brew a Northern Monk stout to compete with Northern Monk or Timothy Taylor. They just brew Guinness, and they brew their own beers, and they do what they do. You might tell me different. You might say, oh, there was this story about this. But these have just brewed a brilliant Nitro stout. They've kept it their own. They've made it their own. They're not on about, like, you know, splitting the N or splitting the bloody T or anything like that. They're just making it. So, yeah, and I'm thankful of that. So, anyway, I'm going to stop ranting on now. And like I say, it's all been just... It's not about me being like, oh, I'm angry at these breweries. It's not about that. I'm disappointed that when a brewery makes their own stout, that they have to just compare it, as in, like, not compare it to Guinness. These have sort of said they've made it in the style of a beer that's been made famous by Guinness, and they thought, oh, we'll do that. But they're not trying to take over. They're not trying to do anything better, and that's it. And I respect them for that. So for me, that's one of the best Nitro stouts that's been brewed for a long while. As an independent Nitro stout, really enjoyed that. I've got 2 more to have. In fact, I might have another one now that's not quite as cold as the one I had, just to see how the flavours are again. And I might even do a part 3 on that, just to carry on this waffle, because I can. Right, anyway, I just want to thank Guinness, and I want to thank Steve Gilsonan. I want to thank this Nitro Surge cap, absolutely fantastic. And I want to thank every person that's watched my first ever video on YouTube, which when I look back, I think even though, yes, it's okay, it was my first ever one. And it's had sort of like about 27,500 views now, which is quite fun. I never started this YouTube channel for any other reason, for a bit of fun and laughter, and to share the love of beer and cheer. And now it's developed into like the pub share community and all the beer loving community, and we meet up and everything else, and everybody's welcome there. And so yeah, it's been a journey, and the reason, and it's got to the stage where I think when the stout like this comes out, I've got to go and get it, and I've got to bring it to the channel. Anyway, right, take care, everybody. Thank you for putting up with me and the waffle. And I'd just like to say on International Stout Day, thank you for where it started on here, the YouTube, and where it's just ended today. Well, not ended, but, you know, it's still going strong on International Stout Day. Right, waffling on. Don't get the tagline for nothing. Cheers, everybody. Take care of yourself. Live, laugh, love. And go and get this stout because you'll really enjoy it. Cheers.